Hello, my name is Christopher Bluth, and I'm the Community and Economic Development Manager here at ACOG. And I'm really glad that you are joining us today as I go through the 2023 Rural Economic Action Plan, or REAP, application tutorial. It is the hope that this tutorial will give you all the tools that you need to submit a successful application and get your projects funded. This REAP program is one that we are very excited to be working on, and a lot of new money coming into this program will allow for even better projects. So without further ado, let's hop into it. REAP can change your hometown. REAP has the ability to fund a variety of different projects, including road, water quality projects, or even economic development projects. Also fund public facility projects, public work projects, or public safety projects. It really is what your community needs, REAP can fund. The Association of Central Oklahoma Governments is here for you. ACOG is the leading voice for regional cooperation in Central Oklahoma. Our organization operates within 37 cities and the 4 counties that make up our region. This region is Canadian, Cleveland, Logan, and Oklahoma County. Our mission is to advocate for you and for regional cooperation and to address common issues. The REAP program allows us to address issues together. So what is REAP? REAP is the Rural Economic Action Plan grant. It was created by the state legislature, and its purpose is to assist small communities and towns with populations under 7,000 people. And our hope is to fund these communities since they have very little or no funding capabilities. ACOG administers the grant for Central Oklahoma, and we have $2.7 million available, and we will be putting no maximum funding cap for REAP projects. We want you to apply so that way we can help fund your projects and help improve your community. So what projects can we fund? It is by law that 80% of all the funds we have to be delivered to one of these 6 categories. These categories include water quality projects, solid waste projects, sanitary sewer projects, road or street projects, rural fire and public safety projects, and other expenditures that are designed to increase employment level within the jurisdiction of the entity. So this leaves 20% of REAP funds that are allocated for projects that are within these last 4 categories. These categories include healthcare services, telecommunication projects, municipal energy distribution projects, and lastly, public facilities, which allow for a variety of different projects to occur within a public facility or town hall area. There are some ineligible projects for REAP, and this is outside of the population threshold, but the ineligible projects include consumable goods and office supplies, personnel costs, park projects, including park maintenance equipment, fairground projects, mower and lawn equipment, and veterans memorials. Other ineligible projects include codifications of ordinances, capital improvement plans, comprehensive land use plans, housing projects and programs, and other county maintenance bonds or any other district-wide projects for counties with populations of 7,000 and above. Here's a list of REAP projects that have been funded in the past. The $100,000 maximum grant amount was active last year. That has been removed. This graph gives you an idea of how much money we have spent since 1997. Notice that we've spent more than 50% of all our funds on road repairs. However, that is not the only thing we can do with this money. So this slide shows you what the timeline is for the REAP 2023 grant. From August 26th to October 27th, this grant is live, and our staff is here to help you with your project and your application. The deadline for submissions is October 28th of 2022 at 4 p.m. October 28th, 2022 at 4 p.m. There will be 2 in-person workshops, September 6th and September 8th. Attending these will get you some more points, but also listening and watching this video to the completion of the video will get you those points as well. After the deadline, during November, ACOG will be reviewing all applications that were submitted. December 15th at the ACOG Board of Directors meeting, we will be approving the REAP grants that were selected. December 16th to the 31st, we will be giving out award letters to those applicants. And then in January and February, we need the acceptance of the REAP grants by the entities, and hopefully we'll be giving out funding throughout 2023. 2023 REAP grant commencement will begin as soon as possible. Applicants will know January or February about the acceptance of their grant, and contracts will be distributed as soon as possible. Historically, this has been around June or July, but it is our hope to get them out as soon as March. So now that we've talked about the background, we can talk about the application. We're going to go through the application page by page, and I'm going to talk to you about the important things that need to be correct on these applications. It is my hope that we'll be able to talk about everything on here and hopefully answer any questions that you may have. If there is any other questions, please feel free to contact us, but hopefully this will cover everything that you need to know about the application itself. So page 1 of the REAP application. At the top, you have our deadline, October 28th, 2022 at 4 p.m. Please make sure you get your application submitted by that time to either myself or Maria. Secondly, all applications must be typed. We have made this document, this application, completely fillable. Every single line and box can be checked and typed in. So please make sure you fill this out with your computer. If you're having technical difficulties or if there's another problem that's coming up, please get in contact with Maria or myself, and we'll happily work with you to make sure you can get your application submitted on time. Our next thing in section 1A, entity name, please make sure that is your city, or if you are having a county apply on your behalf or for you, it says the county name and then the city. So it would be Cleveland County or Oklahoma County on behalf of or on whatever city. That's how we want that to look. The rest of this information should be pretty straightforward. Make sure that the information is correct. Section 1E, the contact person. Please make sure that this is the person that we can get in contact throughout the grant process. This will be the person that ACOG will be conveying information to and being in contact with anything REAP related. So please make sure that this person will be accessible and capable of working with us and the grant. Skipping down some more, population. I understand that it does say 2016 U.S. Census information. However, as of this year, from what we've heard from ODOC, is we will be using the 2020 census data. It is the latest U.S. Census data that we have, and that is the one we will be defaulting to. I apologize that it doesn't say that on there. However, we will be using 2020 going forward. And lastly, J, entity local sales rate. We use this tax as an understanding of what your area is contributing and how the income is working. So take the sales tax rate and subtract it by 4.5%. So page 2, we're getting into section 2, the project information. The description, make sure you're providing us with the detailed information. Square footage, mileage, length, whatever you're doing, whether it be asphalting a road or sewage, you just need to tell us what is going on, what project that you're doing. B, amount grant requested. Remember, there's no maximum grant amount. You can ask for as much money as you think you need for your project. However, there are 2 things that you need to know. First, and as shown underneath in red, request above $150,000 or more must have a project budget or cost estimate attached. It needs to come from a contractor or an engineer. If it is a matter of you can't fund one at the moment, know that ACOG does have engineering and contracting built into the program. So if you need to pay for it with REAP funds, that is something you can do. It's not something that we were going to recommend. We hope that you have all that ready and available by the time you're applying for this. However, it is something that we can fund. So if there's a study that needs to be done with it or future project costs, that can be arranged. And the second thing, if you apply for, let's just throw out a number like $300,000 for a massive project, just know that we're going to award you less points. The way we've built our rating system is that the smaller amounts of money are going to be receiving larger points. So it's kind of this inverse scale. If you are asking for $300,000 to $500,000 for a massive project, just know it needs to be a very good project because you're not going to get those points for the large amount of money. We'll go over the point and rating system later on. Just know that the amount of money requested needs to be well thought about. See if you have additional funding that you're going to be using for the project. You can list it. It's not required. There's no matching for these funds. However, we just want to know if there's other sources of funds. And D, the statute category, that's listed as within the policies and procedures. E, project budget. Again, if it's $150,000 more, we need to see a very in-depth budget. However, for all others, we do just need to see what the budget's going to be and what you're going to be spending the money on. F, this is the detailed project description. And A, you're just kind of telling us what it is. And F, we need to see a lot of information about it, where it's going to be, what exactly are you doing, what is the nature of the project. We need to see if you're going to be buying or purchasing machinery, what that is going to do, what you're going to use it for, why you need it. That would also be a really big thing to add in there, the why. And if you need to have more sheets, you can attach it to the back of the application. Lastly, there needs to be photos of the target area, whatever location or spot that you're buying it for. If it's construction, maintenance, sewer line, roads, we need to see photos of it. If it is simply equipment, we don't need to see photos of that. G, this gives you more room to justify it. The why, the need, the critical needs, anything that shows that you need this project and help convince us that we need to give you this money to do it, that's where you need to put it in G. H, project management steps necessary to complete this project, timeline and project readiness. We need to see what it's going to take for you to get ready for shovel in the ground. Do you need to wait till summer? Do you need to have clear days? Are you going to be able to start during the winter? Are you going to be able to start right away? Is there going to be any planning costs? Is there going to be a delay? Anything, whether it be staffing or whatever the case may be, we need to know about this, as well as an anticipated start date. If you want to, if you're capable, if you can say as soon as possible, that works for us. Lastly, I, the total number of people directly benefiting from the completed project. If it is specific to one area, like a road that is off the beaten path, obviously it's going to be a little bit different. Please use your best estimate for I. On to page 3. We're going to talk about project impacts. So during this section, we want you to tell us about how your project is going to have an impact on your community. This section will allow you to earn a lot of different points. So we want you to spare no detail. We want to hear about everything that your project can accomplish. We're going to go through each of these questions. I'm going to talk to you what we are looking for and how you can use these questions to earn points. So starting off, A, does your project create and or retain jobs? Yes or no question. If it's a yes, please talk to us. Tell us what jobs you are creating or retaining. This is after the construction period of the project. And talk to us about the nature of the jobs. We don't need uber specific details like this is how much they're going to be making per hour, and here's the exact spot they're doing it. But we do want to know, what is the job? How many of these jobs are you offering? What is longevity of these jobs? Moving to B, describe any critical needs that are being addressed by completion of the proposed project. Critical needs is a vague term here. It has broad meaning that will allow you to justify your project. Anything that you believe is having an effect on the critical needs. So for example, a simple one would be, I'm purchasing a new fire truck. That can be a critical need because you do need a up-to-date fire engine to fight fires. That absolutely counts as meeting a critical need. You can even go as far as to say, if you are asphalting a road and that road is used by a fire engine, you could say that by doing so, you are increasing the ability for fire trucks to get to the fire and fight fire effectively. It's a safety element at that point. So please think about how your project is going to have a larger impact on your community, and that is where you can address the critical needs. If you have a question about it or want to talk more about how your project can describe or attack a critical need, please get in contact with me and I can happily talk to you about it. Question C, describe any economic impacts that will occur. Economic impacts can come in many different forms, so please once again think about what your project is accomplishing. Will you have more people coming to visit your town due to your project? Will your project be able to support jobs or have future job creation? Will your project set up long-term success for an area for future residents or whatever the case may be? All of these could be economic impacts. We want you to talk about how those impacts will occur based on your project. Again, happy to talk to you about it more if you need assistance. D, simply, does this project improve your community, develop your community, or provide benefits that the general population will have access to? Yes or no question, and again, we want to hear the details. How is this project going to improve your community? E, does this project eliminate hazards? Yes or no? What hazards? If it's a yes, we want to know which hazard you are dealing with. And we want to know how are they being effectively and safely eliminated by this project. If your project is going to be eliminating a hazard, we want to know how effectively this project is going to do just that. Lastly, F. Does this application have a capital improvement plan? Does this project come from a CIP? Is there a CIP that the city has done in the last couple of years? Let us know. Other than that, we'll be moving on to page 4. On page 4, we start out with a question about any signed multi-jurisdictional cooperative agreements. These agreements between the government entity and any other entity can be awarded extra points. So please let them be listed down below and provide us a documentation of the signed agreement. You will be awarded extra points for your collaboration with other entities. On to section 4 of local efforts. We want to know about any economic or community development projects that you've commenced or completed in the last 3 years. Please describe what work you've done in your community. We would love to know about it, and that local effort will be rewarded with points. B, we want to know about any other efforts for funding that you're doing for this project, whether it be in-kind labor, cash, or other local support. Note that this grant, the REAP grant, is no matching funds, which means you will not be penalized if there's no other amount in-kind cash or other. C, did you watch the entirety of this video? You'll be rewarded points. Please let us know which person watched the video. You can do that via email to Maria or myself. The next question of D, does your local government have a current ACOG board membership? And then section 5, the first question is about CDBG. Do you believe your project is CDBG eligible? If so, do you want to be considered? I will say this right now about CDBG. We have not had anyone pursue the CDBG in a while. If you feel that your project could be eligible for that fund, please get in contact with Christopher Bluth or Maria Delora as soon as possible. Page 5 only has a few questions. First is about a low moderate income threshold. If your community falls within that threshold, please check yes or no. D is about an income survey. If you have a copy of your project beneficiary income summary form within the last 5 years, please go ahead and attach that. E is about any open grants you have with Commerce. We want you to let us know about this information. However, you will not be penalized based on your answers for these questions. Afterwards, the rest of page 5 is your signatory. Make sure it is your authorized elected official from the first page. Try to keep the names and who's working on this as uniform as possible, keeping the same names and the same people. So please make sure all the information is correct and filled out in its entirety. This resolution and form must be signed and verified and attested. So please make sure that you fill out the correct information in each of the empty spaces. Have the elected official of the governing body approve it. Make sure all information is correct. Again, make sure the information is correct and certify that you're familiar with this grant process. The other thing that needs to be verified is for unincorporated towns outside the boundary of city or towns, we must have written documentation about the existing community or organization. This applies mostly to counties. This is a reminder to go through one last time and make sure all the information is correct, and a reminder that unsigned applications will not be considered. My information and Maria Delora's information is at the top. Please feel free to contact us with any questions. We're here to help. We're here to help get money to your communities. So please, if there's any questions, do not hesitate to either shoot us an email or give us a call. This is again a reminder of the 2023 REAP important dates. From this point on, the rest of the video will be talking about the backside of this grant, how here at ACOG we'll be reviewing and rating your applications. Please stay tuned because we will be going over how we will be looking at the points. The points have changed this year. We have made a lot of modification on how you will be awarded points. So I believe it is in your best interest to go through and hear how we'll be grading each of your applications and that way you will know what information you need to provide us so that you can be awarded all your points. The REAP 2023 grant has a new rating and scoring criteria. This year we have changed a lot about how this program runs and operates, and one of the main things that we have changed is how ACOG staff is going to review, rate, and grade each of your applications. This information is all in our policies and procedures. We will be going in and talking about each category and the amount of points that you will get for your application. So please stay in touch. So points are going to be awarded in a variety of different ways. There's many ways to score points. However, one of the things that we have to keep in mind as graders is the fiscal capacity, what our money can accomplish. We have to be able to evaluate the cost effectiveness of the grant, as well as the impacts on the health and safety and economic development. Lastly, we have to also make sure that the projects meet the legislative intent and match up with the project readiness. So this page of the application comes directly from our policies and procedures. This details each of the eligible categories and gives you a description of what is included for each of those categories. Remind you that the first 6 have to be funded with 80% of our money. The last 4 can be funded with the final 20%. These policies and procedures detail every bit of eligibility. So if you have any questions, please look there first. If not, Maria and myself are happy to help you. And here are the last 5 categories. Reminder, all of this is within our policies and procedures. If you are unsure about the eligibility of your project or your project idea, please get in touch with myself or Maria. We are happy to talk to you about eligibility and figure out if your project will be able to be funded in this upcoming REAP year. The policy and procedures document covers a lot of information, including eligibility, ineligibility, as well as how we are complying with the law and other different statutes that you may need to know about. All of these policies have been approved by the board of directors, and if you have any questions that you need answered in detail, the answer might be in the policy and procedure, and if not, please contact Maria or myself. We're happy to talk to you about your project and your eligibility. So other information that you need to know from the policies and procedures about how your application is going to be looked at is about local need, availability of assistance, feasibility, project feasibility, grant amount and availability of funds. That is something we have to take into account, as well as by law the 80% of our total funds going towards categories 1 through 6. There's also information about how CDBG works with REAP. Now for the application guidelines. This is the important information that you need to know about your application going into it, because this is the way we're going to be governed and how we're going to be operating behind the scenes. So of course, as we said already, applicants must attend or listen to the online training. That is something that we are holding to very seriously, and we need you to abide by it as well, so that way we're all on the same page. Secondly, this is state statute. We must prioritize applications with population under 1,500. The way we have set up our points is that populations with under 1,500 will receive the maximum amount of population points. 3, applications must have approval from the governmental entity submitting the project. This is why earlier in the application, on the last few pages, we must have the government authorizing official, the correct entity approving and submitting this project. That way we know we have this already figured out. As always, there's no predetermined geographical allocation of funds. It is based purely on the applications. And 5, the cutoff date, again, as a reminder, is October 28th, 2022. It's a Friday at 4 p.m. And one of the things that we did change for our policy and procedures this year is that we are allowing a maximum of 3 applications per grant cycle. Previously, it was only 2 applications. The reason we have done this is because of the fact that we have to give 80% of our funds to the categories 1 through 6. Because of this, even if you have a great application, if you are applying for an application in category 7, you may not get funded because we are obligated to give our funding through categories 1 through 6. So we want you to apply to submit multiple applications. That way, if you are within or outside of a category, you have a good chance of getting funded for at least one of your projects. As we mentioned earlier, we are very, very excited to announce that there is no maximum dollar cap for applications. You can request for as much money as you think you need to accomplish your project. We are recommending and encouraging that you request for the smallest amount necessary. If you go higher or above, you risk the chance of not getting funded this year. 7, all projects requesting more than $150,000 are required to submit a project budget or cost estimate. We need to see that. We need to see that the money is going to be spent for the project and that the project numbers make sense. If the project estimate is not attached to the document, to your application will not be looked at. Lastly, as a note, full funding for any project is not guaranteed. You may get some supplementary funds, but we cannot guarantee full funding for any project. And 8, the maximum total project funding we have for CDBG REAP, if you're interested, is $136,000. So please contact us if you would like to be interested in the CDBG REAP pool. So number 9 of the policies and procedures talks about what money can be spent on, which is only capital related and non-administrative expenditures. So simply put, engineering related projects, not including planning, can be included. No grant writing or administrative expenses. So for your project implementation, whenever you submit your project, if you need a change of scope or if something is changing that needs timeline change or whatever the case may be, ACOG can change that without board approval. However, if there is a lot of changes coming, we probably will deny if it's changing the entirety of the project. However, if it's within a logical change, ACOG will most likely approve it. But please, you must stay in contact with ACOG to get these changes approved if needed. So this is where it gets fun. This is the ranking criteria in which you will see how you can win points. This will detail every way you can get points and the total points you can get. We have changed this system in the past, and we've changed some of the ways you can be awarded points. So if you would wish, you could even grade your own application to see how many points you would end up getting. So let's get into it. Population. Population has gone unchanged from last year. Populations under 1,500 will receive the full 30 points. After that, depending on the size of your population, you will receive 15, 10, or 5 points. Population change. That is the newest change that we have made to the application. Up to 20 points, and it is the points will be awarded based on the change in population from 2016 to 2020. So the way this works is if you've had negative population growth from 2016 to 2020, then you will receive a total of 20 points, maximum of 20 points. If you've had 0 to 5% population growth, you will receive the 15 points. If you've had 5% to 15% in population growth, you will get 10 points. And if you have above 10% of population growth from 2016 to 2020, you will receive 5 points. For local effort, the community investment, you can receive a maximum of 10 points for your community development or approved bonds, your CIP projects, or any other projects that have been initiated or successfully completed in your community within the last 3 years. Number 2, grant funding. The grant funds requested, maximum of 30 points. This is a scaling system. The more points that you add, or the more dollars that you ask for, the less points you will get. If you ask for a lower amount, you'll get the maximum amount of points. So I'm going to walk you through the scaling system. If you have a request of $59,999 or less, you will receive the full 30 points. $60,000 to $110,000, you will get 25 points. $110,000 to $150,000, you will get 20 points. $150,000 to $210,000, you will get 10 points. $210,000 to $300,000, you will get 5 points, and any applications above $300,000 will receive 0 points. Number 3, local sales tax. You can get 4 to 5 points depending on your sales tax. Impacts. This is the other major change that we have made to the rating system, how you can receive points based on the impacts that you're having. As we mentioned in the application process, these points are broken up based on how well you are addressing them. Please take time to review what we are looking for each of these categories of impacts. A maximum of 60 points can be given out across all the categories. So after grading all the impacts, we move on to multi-jurisdictional or cooperative agreements. You can submit 2 complete signed copies of these agreements. Each agreement is worth 5 points for a total of 10. The next spot to earn points is project readiness and the timeline. A well-developed timeline with a ready start date and a ready project site will receive the total of 10 points. Application training and attendance is 10 points. Congratulations if you're listening to this. Please go ahead and send us an email and let us know that you listened and finished the video, and you will receive your full 10 points. Or if you attend the workshop in person, you will receive those 10 points by being there as well. The difference between this online course and the workshop is that the workshop is intended to be much more personal and allow us to talk in detail about an individual's actual project and go into details about what you may want to do, recommendations, and other things that you may have questions about. We can answer it live in person. Next spot, current ACOG board membership as of October 27th, 2022, you get 15 total points. And the only thing you can lose points on is if you were fully funded last year. You will get deducted 10 points if you were fully funded last year, and that is the only way you can lose points. If there are things that are left blank, if there are things that are not talked about, you will be given 0 points if there is just no information available in it within your application. There are 200 points up for grabs, and I encourage you to go after all of them. This is attachment A, which details the amount of points you will get for your community size. This is as of the 2020 census. So this is attachment B, details the population and the LMI for each town. So this is attachment C. This details everything that we talked about, all the points that are available, categories in which you can get your points. So please feel free to review. If you have any questions, I'm happy to talk about them. So that is the end of the information that I have prepared to tell you. I hope that I have been able to deliver all the information that you may need to submit a successful application. I hope that if you have any other questions or anything else that you would like to talk about, that you feel you can reach out to me personally. I'm happy to talk to you about your project. I'm not allowed to write or develop any of your application. However, I'm happy to provide recommendations and answer any questions that you may have. So feel free to reach out to myself or Maria. For those who have made it this far as well, please go ahead and either send Maria Delora or myself an email, or you can go ahead in the comment section below this video, go ahead and type out your name and your organization or entity so that we know that we can direct points to you. Appreciate you being along for the ride. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, please feel free to reach out and let me know. I appreciate you being here today, and that is all. Thank you.